How PvP works Dark Souls 1. Before, in the original version, you could invade infinitely upwards using the red eye orbs. But now in the remaster, there's soul level and weapon level restrictions. You also have to reverse your hollowing before you can invade, using the red eye orb. There's also cracked red eye orbs, and the full red eye orb. The full red eye orb can only be used in the Covenant, while you're in the Covenant, but the cracked red eye orbs can be used by anybody. So they're nice to have when you're in one of the other Covenants, and you still want to invade without very many restrictions. The next Covenant involves the Blue Eye Orb, which only allows you to invade players who were indicted after invading, but reaches farther down the soul level range than the Red Orb does. It also requires you to be in the Dark Moon Covenant, which is also a requirement for the Dark Moon Blade Miracle, but you can use the orb even while hollow. There's also the Dark Moon Covenant Ring, which summons you to defend Dark on Orlando from anybody in human form who's in it. The Forest Hunter Covenant lets you be summoned to defend the Darkroot Forest area, so long as you're part of the Covenant and have the Cat Covenant Ring on. It's not really active anymore, which sucks. It was the spot to go for PvP for a long time. Grave Lording is also neat, because it lets you put a sign down that follows you around and spawns in other players' worlds to infect their world with more powerful Black Phantom enemies. Those players can touch the sign to invade your world, to take you down, and get rid of the Black Phantoms in their own world if they win. The downside is the Black Phantoms only show up if the infected worlds are in New Game Plus. The Dragon Eye Orb lets you place a sign that only allows hosts without other players in their world to summon you for a proper duel, with the winner getting a dragon scale. It used to be the only Covenant that let you use the Estus Flask during PvP as a Phantom, but now all Phantoms can do that. I'll also note that you don't lose any dragon scales from losing because of the way it's phrased in the orb's description. It says something about you need a dragon scale, you get a dragon scale, you're not losing your dragon scale. Dark Souls 1 is notorious for having most of the combat revolve around backstabs, so it's important to keep your distance and understand that your opponent is covering a slightly wider area than it looks like they are. Lots of weapons are too slow on their recovery to swing, mostly larger weapons, but also things with a whiff animation like axes and hammers. You can still swing long weapons like halberds and spears, or fast weapons like curved swords, rapiers, and straight swords. Another thing to be careful of is passive poise, which essentially makes swinging your weapon a bad idea in any situation. There are ways to get around that, of course, like wearing a piece of the Thorn's armor will cause damage when you roll, which can prevent backstabs from hurting you most of the time due to backstabs being cancelled if damage occurs to both players at the same time. If you hit someone who's blocking with a shield, then they have to recover from the shock animation before they can move again for a brief moment. I also recommend using the kick attack on weapons other than curved swords and rapiers, because it can't be poised through and causes a stumbling stun, but it can be blocked. Invasions are normally against pretty regular players nowadays, who might not know what they're doing in PvP, but occasionally they have a friend who knows a few things, or they learned a few things like how backstabs are strong and that poise is effective. So first, you have to think about, what can my build do? You know, go in with a plan ahead of time, and then adapt to the situation. Then you see your opponents, and figure out what they're capable of, by identifying their weapon, and giving their poise a check with a swing, or by looking at what chest armor they have. Stuff like Havel's and the Wolfring are really obvious, for example. After that, you put your plan into motion, attacking whoever gives you an opening, and backing off whenever things don't go your way, or forcing a reversal when that seems impossible, by swinging wildly or calmly countering their offensive. Ultimately, it's your choice how aggressive you are about this, because you can very easily run up and one-shot backstab someone who doesn't immediately recognize and counter that. So we're in Dark on Orlando, checking our rings to make sure we got the right ones. Usually the host is over by the bonfire. I think I decided against it. I was like, okay, we're in dark on Orlando. Let's put on the Hornet Ring. Oh, we got a co-op. Co-op red. Co-invader. Here's someone moving around. Oh, they're there. I tried to parry. As you can see, they have a ton of poise, Mask of the Mother. I'm like, you know what? Let's just go over here and heal real quick. They went for the backstab, but they did not get it, and I did. Go for the kick. They managed to turn around before that. Didn't have their shield out. Smack him with the axe. I don't know if they let me do that or what. They're in the wall. The doorway, I can't stun them. They know they're safe, so they just heal in my face. The red is AFK. Okay, they just showed up. They got back. I'm like pointing in the direction of the host with that punch. They were running towards me, so I thought they were going to attack me. Oh, we got a blue. The blue is waving. Don't know why. That is a bad idea. I tried for a parry setup here, but they already turned around before I was ready. I'm trying to get some chip damage in. The blue uses Tranquil Walk of Peace. The blue's just going ham. They're just going in. They're like, you know what? This place is crazy. I'm just going to attack the nearest person. Okay, so the blue attacked me. So that means I gotta kill the blue. The host ran over and backstabbed me. I don't get why they didn't keep fighting the other red. Maybe they know I'm the bigger threat. Now it's time for the backstab chains. The host is positioning themselves against the wall, so I can't backstab them. Obviously, Dark Souls' backstab hitbox is kind of big. See that? They managed to block my kick on Wake Up. Shields are just very strong in Dark Souls 1. We managed to break the poise there, that's crazy. And there's the good old poise backstab. The other red is blocking the doorway, so the host has no way out. So in Dark Souls 1, rapiers have this running attack that hits twice. It's really strong. The only way we're going to kill this guy is if I can get 2 backstabs in a row. Unfortunately, I'm mid-rolling, so it's very unlikely I'll be able to do that. So here I thought I'd be able to break their poise, and that didn't work. We're still alive, but it... So I think they have a rapier, they might try to attack immediately, they did not. And they have the dung pie ready. And that is one of the more difficult invasions of Dark Souls 1.
Once you have a feel for how to play, you'll start to see that mainly backstabs and fast and or long-reaching attacks are your best options. This is the Souls game with the most backstab-oriented gameplay, especially due to poise and toggle escapes. Typically, if someone doesn't know toggle escapes or wake-up tech, then they're going to lose very quickly. So let me explain that. Toggle escapes are really simple. You just have to change one of your weapon slots as you get hit by an attack, and you can sort of spam it just to get out of infinite combos, but it's a real problem when people do it on reaction, just to ignore what you're doing and backstab you. Wake Up Tech is a lot more complicated, because first off this assumes you got backstabbed and survived, so now you're just trying to get your second chance after you've already lost. So getting hit by a kick ignores whatever poise you had, and you can't toggle escape the kick's stun, so what people do is they'll kick you on a wake up if they don't think you'll immediately roll away, and this gives them enough time to priority backstab you. The other wake up option is to stand completely still, which prevents the opponent from backstabbing you until your standing up animation is completed. Which is also why getting kicked is a possibility. The reason you have to think about this is because you can get backstabbed out of a roll really easily. There's a few notable weapons with infinites, and I'm sure I don't know them all because some have low poise breakpoints. Weapons with infinites include all curved greatswords, the Zweihander, low weight one-handed greatswords, most two-handed curved swords, and maybe one-handed great axe. Stamina becomes more important in Dark Souls 1, because actions take more stamina to perform than they do in the other games. There is also negative stamina, where you use an action that takes more stamina than you have, which makes you have to recover from that negative value. While your stamina is too low, you won't be able to perform actions or run until you have enough positive stamina. So try to make sure you have at least enough for one roll all the time. Shields are super strong because they barely take stamina damage on hit, so it's a good idea to have a shoulder to try to bypass that until you get parried. Dead angles used to be a thing where you can aim an attack away and it would hit past the shield, but that's not in the remaster.